such strict restrictions still. Oh gosh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, COVID's everywhere over here as well. In fact, I was saying to someone today that I know more people with COVID now than during the entire pandemic. So do please be careful, everybody. Yeah, it's still definitely with us. Okay, good. So it's 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 19 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So I'm going to close the chat box. Yeah, lovely to see you all. And I'm definitely back home now. Last week I was in Manchester for our team retreat from our Airbnb, dealing with unfamiliar environment and so on. But I'm back in my office in my meditation chair. Really, really lovely to see you all. Yeah, so tonight what I thought we'd do is a practice. I've done it before, but a practice about how do we become fully present, very sort of honest with whatever's going on. So we're not shutting anything out. If we've got pain, we let it in. If we've got any kind of emotional disturbance, we let it in. But we learn how to find a place of strength where we're not tipping into overwhelm, but neither are we tipping into blocking and denial. This is such an interesting art, I think, being for all humans, maybe particularly those of us living with pain and difficulty, but for all humans, how can we be really, really present, including the stuff that we would rather not be experiencing? Because if we're shutting that out, then automatically we've got some kind of tension in our experience, this tension of pushing away. So how can we be open to it, but then not just tip straight into overwhelm? Because that's usually what we do. I think what most of us do is we move between overwhelm and denial and overwhelm and denial. So to find that sweet spot in the middle is very, very interesting, because then we can be fully present to our lives. We can be kind and loving towards whatever we're experiencing, and we can cultivate real strength. So I think this is the place of real strength, real courage, dignity, and learning how to calibrate our awareness. In actual practice, what it usually means is we notice we're tipping into overwhelm, and in the noticing we can choose to broaden, or we notice we're a bit numb and cut off and a bit blocked and a bit brittle, in which case we choose to soften into our experience. I'm leading this practice tonight because I feel I really need this myself. So I'm being very authentic here. I've got back from being away. I'm back at my desk. I've got loads of emails. I've got my to-do list is overwhelming. So I thought, I know I need this practice tonight. How I relate to my to-do list. And also interesting that my back pain's got worse. So I can just see that connection between that kind of mental winding up and then my body starts tensing. So I thought this would be that I'd lead this from a very authentic place tonight. And I also know many of us also will benefit from this. I think everybody can benefit from this approach to practice. Yeah. But before we begin, I'd just like to say just a little something about how we absolutely love offering these practices on this community of practice. It's very, very dear to us at Breathworks and all the things that we do. And we're totally committed to keeping this free. But like everybody, at the moment, there's this cost of living crisis. We're all feeling the pinch, and we're feeling the pinch a little bit at Breathworks. And we're going to be fine. So I don't want to worry anybody at all. But we're also noticing that our donations are starting to lessen, totally understandably. But I just thought I'd drop this in because even if you felt like, if you really value what we're doing and you think, oh, I can't give a decent amount, so I won't give any. If you give £2, if you give £1, if you enjoy these sessions, that all adds up. And I'm a great believer in, this kind of microfinance. Like if we get enough people regularly donating £1, that makes a real difference to us. So Ollie, as always, will put the donation link at the end of the session. And if you felt moved to give a little something, that will really mean a lot to us as we navigate these times, as we know that all you are navigating these times. And of course, it goes without saying that this is genuinely free. So if you don't want to, or you're not able to give anything at all, that's totally cool. We're totally fine about that. I don't want you to experience this as a pressure, but I'm just, in a way, introducing this idea of, regular. Oh, what's happened now? Starter stopped anyway. Ollie's doing something behind the scenes. Um, a little bit regularly really makes a big difference to us. And also, I'd like to really thank Katie, who's here. Katie, who's here, who quite spontaneously did, I think she called it a chill fest, which was music in her back garden. And she did that as a fundraiser for Breathworks and raised like nearly £450. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So that's another thing you can do to help us. If you have an idea of doing something and you want to ask people to give a little bit of money and make Breathworks who you're raising funds for, then we will definitely help at our end, giving you links to where people can donate their money and so on. So all these things help, and that is very much the meaning of community, and just wonderful that Katie did that completely just off her own back. And from our end, we're just totally appreciative and overjoyed that an afternoon of music in the garden became £450, which means that we can keep offering these kind of things for free. Yeah, that's very, very much our ethos. And then she's saying it was great fun too. I'm sure it was. But I looked at the, if you go to the community of practice, there's a Zoom link, and I had a little look before to the recording. It really looked a lot of fun. Okay, good. So let's move into the meditation now. So as always, choosing your position carefully and mindfully, thinking, what does my body need right now? Do I need to lie down? Do I need to sit? Do I need to stand? And of course, you can do slow walking up and down the room if that would work for you. It's very, very much up to you. And when you're ready, coming into stillness, if you're not walking, closing the eyes if you would like to, and that's comfortable, or you could lower your gaze. But coming into a more settled stance of the body, which will help the mind settle. Feeling the weight resting down into the support of the chair or the bed or the floor. And seeing if we can yield our weight into the support. If you find it helpful, you could take a deeper in-breath. And on the out-breath, release, let go, allow the out-breath to go all the way to the end. And the next in-breath flow back in its own time. Allowing your breathing to settle, to find its own natural rhythm. Seeing if we can soften any impulse to grip around breathing or to hold breathing. If we have this quality of releasing, yielding, settling down into the support with each out breath, this can help. I've got a poem by Rumi, very, very beautiful. Your grief for what you've lost lifts a mirror up to where you're bravely working. Expecting the worst, you look, and instead here's the joyful face you've been wanting to see. Your hand opens and closes, and opens and closes. If it were always a fist, or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding, the two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as bird wings. So this is the kind of taste, if you like, or the sensitivity that we can bring to this practice, finding this middle way between denial and overwhelm. So we're not stuck in either of those states, but we're able to either move towards experience if we're a bit stuck, or broaden our awareness if we're overwhelmed. These movements as beautifully balanced and coordinated as bird wings. So first of all, let's get a sense of the whole body. The whole body sitting here, lying here, standing or walking. The feet and the legs. Full of awareness. And the buttocks resting into the support if we're sitting or lying down. If you're standing or walking, seeing if you can let the buttocks be soft. Allowing awareness to flow up inside the torso, the belly, expanding and subsiding with each breath cycle. Letting the breath be natural. And the chest and the ribs and the lungs. Expanding, subsiding like bird wings. The whole back of the body, the spine, the length and the breadth being breathed. An opening quality on the in-breath, subsiding quality on the out-breath. Just the natural breath, no need to force or strain in any way. If at any point you feel a bit tense or strained, then coming back to the buttocks, the feet, resting, yielding. Coming back inside, breathing in the back of the body if or when you want to. And the shoulders falling away from the midline of the body, the arms falling away from the shoulders, the hands falling away from the arms, having the hands supported or resting at the side of the body. So the arms and the hands, fingers, thumbs become full of awareness. And coming into the neck, the head, the face, full of awareness. But let's see if we can experience the head as a limb of the body. So we're still embodied, still feeling into the physicality of our experience, the groundedness of our experience. Letting the head be poised on the top of the spine if we're sitting, standing, walking. If we're lying down, giving the weight of the head up fully to the pillow or the cushion. And allowing awareness to flow into the whole face, the eyes, cheeks, nose, lips, tongue, jaw. Letting the back of the mouth be soft so the wind of the breath can flow freely through this area. And broadening awareness now to be aware of the whole body. This experience we label body as if it's a static object. Let's rest inside the fluid and dynamic nature of our experience, sensations arising and passing, breathing arising and passing. It's temperature in the body. Including our emotional weather, maybe coming to the heart area, or just having a sense of your mood, how you're feeling, letting it in, but maybe not identifying so strongly with the content. This too is flowing through the moments, never exactly the same one moment to the next. What sort of thoughts are flowing through the mind? So let's really open to all of our experience physically, mentally, emotionally, including anything that we would label as unpleasant or painful. So we're not shutting anything out. Let's see if we can meet this experience with a tender, kindly quality. Not pushing against it. Just let it be, let it come, let it go, let it come, let it go. If you notice you're tipping into overwhelm, then in the noticing you can choose to broaden. Being aware of the whole body, being aware of environment, sounds. You could even open your eyes if you want to. Continuing to yield into the support. Being aware of a part of our experience that's not hurting, perhaps. And if you're a bit numb, stuck, cut off, brittle, then you can choose to soften, soften, soften towards the experience, yielding, softening with each breath cycle. Just edging in a little bit closer. So playing around, experimenting, and seeing if you can rest in a kind of sweet spot that's open, inclusive, and yet stable and grounded, not cut off, not overwhelmed, but present and kindly. what's happening now. If you've wandered far away, then without any harsh value judgment, you just notice this, perhaps with wry amusement, and then choose to re-engage, coming back inside the body, inside experience, including emotions, including thoughts, learning how to find this middle way between overwhelm and denial in every moment. Dynamic, flexible, receptive awareness, loving awareness. And for the last few moments of the practice, let's let go of any effort whatsoever, resting in the body, resting into gravity, and absorbing the effect of the practice. Perhaps imagining our awareness is a little bit like a sponge and it's just absorbing the learning of the last 20 minutes or so. Now bring a little bit of movement into the body if you'd like to, maybe fingers and toes. Seeing if we can keep things fluid and open as we come into movement. Noticing any impulse to grip. If you notice that, you could choose not to, just release. Coming to bigger movements in your own time, open the eyes, we've had them closed. Good. That was a good thing to do, I must say. I feel sort of found a bit more balance in myself. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to practice with you all. Wonderful. So you could slip away or stay for, we always have a little bit of discussion afterwards. People can write in the chat box what you noticed. That's always really interesting to hear. And coming into the chat box, Ed has really kindly said he will match today's donations up to £100. That's amazing, Ed. Thank you so much. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, and we can just take one another in. If you look at the screen, if you would like to and you're able to, if for any reason you can't see the screen, you could just imagine there's 62 of us still here. 62 beings all in different places and yet all the same. So amazing, isn't it? We're different in our packaging, as it were, but we're all the same, really, in terms of the heart nature that we have, the desire to be free of suffering and to experience happiness. So Hazel said, thank you, Vidyamala. Enjoyed the meditation and glad you benefited from it also. Sarah, thank you. Felt some of the emotions I've been avoiding. Felt good to connect with myself. So that's so interesting, isn't it? That, you know, we avoid things thinking that's going to bring us happiness. And yet Sarah's saying it felt good to connect, to be more real. Ed, I found myself really wandering today, but happily the wandering took me on some lovely byways of my life. I achieved such relaxation. That's also really wonderful you've said that, Ed, because we can do that as well. You know, we can, you know, rather than judging yourself harshly, you can think, oh, well, that was really relaxing. And Anne, thank you so very much, Vidyamala. So very connecting to both the inner and the outer. Lynn, is it possible to have Breathworks bank details, as I would prefer to set up a regular standing order? So maybe Ollie, if you could follow that up, make sure that Lynn gets sent that. That would be great. Odette, thank you for allowing us to open the eyes. It helped me to come out of the discomfort that I was experiencing. Yes, that's interesting, isn't it? Sometimes, you know, we just need to open the eyes and broaden our field, and then that puts the discomfort in a much bigger field, as it were. Hazel, many thanks, Vidyamala. That was comforting. Julie, lovely meditation. I really like the wing analogy. Nicola, noticing change. First time in months I've stayed awake for the whole half hour. That's a result. Excellent. Liv, thank you, Vidyamala. Tense, facing surgery today. This helped to connect with self and body. Love the Rumi bird wings image. Thanks and best to you all. Gosh, Liv, I'm really sorry to hear that you're facing surgery today. I know you're in New Zealand, so this is 9 a.m, maybe. So really all the very, very best. And I'll message you on the community. Viola, thank you, sending love. Carolyn, feel really still and grounded now. Love the image of birds' wings opening and closing. I'll put the detail in the poetry section of the community of practice for that poem. Jonathan, very comforting, feeling stabilized and rebooted. See, that's also a lovely way of putting it. Yeah, sort of rebooted, reset. You know, when computers get all jammed out, the best thing to do is to turn them off and turn them on again. And sometimes a meditation can be like that. Karen, thank you. That was very gentle and kind. Thank you. Lovely sense of connection within me and between us. Meg, thank you, Vidyamala. A wonderful meditation. I also would like the bank details. Okay, so thank you so much, Meg. I'll think about maybe other people want them as well. So I'll talk to the team about the best way to communicate that. Siobhan, had felt overwhelmed. Love that. Finding middle ground between denial and overwhelm. I think for me, this is one of the real core practices. It's at the heart of our compassionate acceptance practice at meditation, at Breathworks. But I think that's what we're all doing in a way, isn't it? Trying to be really real and present without being either cut off or overwhelmed. And it is a place of bravery and courage and strength. Good. So Ollie, just checking, have you got a note of Lynn and Meg? Yes, good. He just put yep in the chat box. Excellent. Okay, everybody. So we'll leave it there. If you want to say, unmute yourselves to say goodbye and see you next week. Let me just check something quickly. Yes. So just this, in 2 days' time, I'm leading a meditation on Insight Timer, which is another app. So again, it'll just be a half-hour sit at 7 o'clock UK time on Insight Timer. So if you go to the Insight Timer app, you'll see the free events, and I'm doing a meditation there. I nearly forgot myself, so I'm glad I just checked that. Okay, so thank you, Ollie, and thank you, everybody. See you all next week or maybe Thursday, and yeah, see if you can find that middle way. It's particularly valuable actually when you've lost the middle way. You know, your loss will then decide, do I need to broaden, back off a bit, or do I need to come closer? Okay, good.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you,
everyone.
so
much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye,
so
everybody.
much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Tracy.